Thank you for being here. This is an amazing community up here in the Midwest. Minnesota Deed and all of the other hosts have worked very hard to pull a lot of resources together, and I hope that you get a lot out of it. What I'm going to be talking about today is something that many entrepreneurs struggle with, which is how on earth do I decide what to dedicate my time and resources to? Let's flip to the next slide. I've got a helpful person up here. Many of you remember this movie from a few years ago. Doug responded to shiny objects and squirrels. And I have a sense that a lot of us are entrepreneurs like that. We're above average in intelligence, right? We have a lot of curiosity, right? And so when we see something new, whether that's technology or a business model, we tend to chase it. That does not help us. Ultimately, it diffuses our energy. Today, what we want to do is give you a tool that's going to help you solve that problem. When I look at you run, that means go for it. So here's my story in a nutshell. About 10 years ago, I was Doug. Squirrel, new opportunity, shiny object. And I actually took the time to write it down. I had 23 different opportunities, any one of which could have been a big deal. And of course, I was having endless cups of coffee and lots of talk, but nothing was getting done. Although I was very busy, there were no results. So I had the irrational belief that I can chase all of these squirrels and catch them all, or at least most of them, because I had the myth that I'm faster, stronger, smarter, and there was no reason why I couldn't do what no one else had ever done. And of course, that was false. So I had 1 week of clarity, and I came up with the opportunity filter, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So there's 2 things that you get out of the opportunity filter. You identify your one best opportunity, the one that's really worth committing your time and energy and money to, and you get rid of all of the things that are distractions, all of the other sparkly objects that aren't doing any good. And you can find a way to give them away or sell them or take them out behind the barn and shoot them, whatever you need to do, but get them out of your field of vision so that you can focus. So this is an assessment tool to practice the skill of scoring opportunities. And in the next 6 minutes, we're going to look at how to score an opportunity. This is my way, but it's a very flexible tool, and I've got copies for everybody who cares to take them with you here. And you can email me, and I'll send you an electronic version which you can massage to your heart's content. So hopefully you'll have some equipment that'll help you score opportunities. This isn't too scientific, but it is a weighted criteria. And for the geeks in the audience, they'll appreciate that this does have a three-dimensional component to it. So you're not just ranking, there's a dimension to it as well. And you'll see that in a minute. Let's go to the next slide. So we're gonna actually walk through an exercise, and I'm just going to assume that there's many ideas that you guys are all stewing about right now. And let's just make up 3 that we're going to score today. One is something we're all familiar with, is customizing a customer project or commercializing a customer's project. We do the work for the customer, they've paid for it, and we say, well, geez, if our customer can do this, why don't we put it on the road? Why don't we put it in a box? There's no reason why we couldn't sell this to somebody else. We could also build a mobile app for dog lovers. Or we could take the existing database and sell it somewhere else. Those are divergent. They're all going to take, any one of them could be very profitable, but any one of them could take all our resources. So we have to make some strategic decisions. Where do we spend the next 3, 6, 12 months and X number of dollars? So we've got 7 questions. To me, the first question is always about potential, because my experience is that everything takes more money and more time than you originally planned. If I'm going to put that much effort into something, if I'm going to jeopardize my personal health and financial sanity, it better be worth it. There better be a big payday at the end. So my number one criteria is potential. And I'm a big believer in fail fast and go big or go home. I asked the question, what will be the gross sales of this opportunity after the first 12 months of operation? I believe that 12 months is the right number, because anything beyond 12 months is really a fantasy. It's more hopium than it is anything else. And so I confine myself to 12 months. Almost week by week, what is going to be the growth of this company? And I just picked, for the fun of it, 100 to 500,000 in the first 12 months. Big enough to be interesting. If I can get to that in 12 months, there might be a nice year 2 or year 3. Let's go to the next slide. I'm sorry, Ron, can you just back up one? I forgot the most important thing. What we're doing is scoring this off to the right-hand corner. We're taking number 3 and multiplying it by 70, so we get a score of 270. Let's go to the next question. The next most important question is a unique value. I don't want to be the guy who comes late to the party. I don't want to be a Me Too product. I want to be unique, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the blue ocean view. The red ocean is red because of all the blood from all the sharks eating each other up. The blue ocean is a green field. It's open for opportunity. And in this case, it's a number 1 because we've got a paying customer. Hooray. So we get a nice score of 60. Lowest score wins in this game. The question number 3, is it fun? One more run. We're going to be working a lot. It's going to be very hard. There's going to be a whole group of folks around it. It ought to be fun. And in this particular scenario of commercializing a project that we did for a customer, it wasn't going to be fun. This was just grinding it out. And consequently, it got a pretty high score. I took number 4, multiplied it by 50, and it's 200. The next question, how about the money? How much are we going to need? Not a ton, but we're going to need something. And of course, if we can do it for nothing or next to nothing, that's a good thing. If it takes more than that, that's not so good. Next slide, Ron. How much time is it going to take? Do I have to quit my day job? Do I have to hire new people? If this is going to cost us a lot of money, it's not going to be very fun, and it's going to be 18 months in the incubation. It's starting to look pretty grim. Now, I'm not excited about this project like I was 5 minutes ago. I'm ready to dump it. Next slide. Do we have the capacity? Well, since we just did this for the customer, we've obviously got the capacity. In fact, we've got 80% of the commercialized version already built. So that's a short run. And then the last question, how many direct competitors are out there? And the fact is, we don't know. So shame on us for not understanding the market better than we do, but that gets a high score. So what do we do with all these numbers? Flip it to the next. Commercializing the customer project. If we add up all those scores, we get 850. Building the mobile app for dog owners, oh my God, run away. Take it out behind the barn and kill it. Or find somebody to sell it to or give it to. Or do we market in the existing database in the UK? That scored very, very nicely. Now, because every one of the scores was the result of a multiple, it's very, very obvious who the winners are. And it becomes very, very easy to say, this is what I want to spend my time on, and this is why. And that's very, very important, because as you go into the market, as you go into the world, as you build your team, they're going to be asking you, why on earth are we doing this and not the app for dog owners? Because I kind of like that. We're doing that because of this, and this. And it becomes a very unified, aligned story that you tell to your team. One more slide. So how does the tool work? Just to summarize, what are the criteria in your opportunity filter? And again, you can make that up, whatever's important to you. I've got to be within 20 minutes drive time from the office, or I've got to have, like no money into it, or I can only spend $500, or whatever. Step 2, rank the criteria. The most important is first. Score the opportunity. And then step 4 is compare the score with other opportunities. Choose the winner, and then commit. And then you're good. Last slide. What if you were able to choose? What if you had all of these opportunities and you were able to winnow them down and get the very best idea that you got? Commit to it and make it a success. I think the entrepreneurial dream then becomes within reach, or at least much more likely. Health, happiness, etc. So my final question is, do you want to catch the one right squirrel, or do you want to spend the next few years drinking coffee and chasing many squirrels because it feels so good? Last slide, Ron. I think it's the last slide. So another entrepreneur that we know made the observation that opportunity is everywhere. And most people don't understand it. Most people don't know what to do with it when they find it, because they're hooked on the process. And sometimes you've got to put on the overalls and actually get down to work. So that's all I got. And thanks again. And Lois, can I turn it over to you?